Just finished coffee that those 2 bonus miles got me last night. I've got plenty of water. I'm probably going to make the road to Winston without needing water. There are now water sources off and on, various troughs, puddles, things like that. Basically, in 14 miles, there is a dirt road, and I get there and then really hope somebody comes by and that I don't look too scruffy and that they will give me a ride 18 miles into Winston. Realistically, I'm going to be there later in the afternoon, so it's possible that I may not hit traffic going into Winston. I do have enough food where I can spend the night at the road if I have to wait it out and go in the next day. I'm not too tied to anything. I'm, rolling with what happens. I am also now beyond the CDT. I will hopefully be back through this section later in the year when I come back to finish off the CDT. I am going to miss the more established trail. It is really nice just getting on a trail where you can, just hike. And as much as the CDT has a reputation for being, unfinished, rough, etc., it is a lot of more straightforward trail than you get on something like this. There is no written guide for this section. It basically tailed off at section 24. So I have basically no idea what's coming up other than I know the town names. I kind of suspected that the challenges of the Black Range not having water, etc., were overstated just because people wanted to shortcut on the Gila. Basically, Black Range goes like this, Gila goes like this. And that was basically what I found. I ended up shortcutting because the Get has a fire relocation down Diamond Creek. That was actually harder going than on the CDT proper. So that doesn't change my plan. When I come back in the fall, my hope is, since I had to split the CDT into 2 years, I'm going to use that extra time and basically try and redline from where I get on at Grand Lake all the way down. Assuming there's not another huge fire, because the black fire here was the second biggest in New Mexico history. I have been having good fence luck lately. Every time I need to cross one, there's been a section down. It's the little things in life, nothing like a nice easy warm-up for my Achilles first thing in the morning. That's more like it. So thinking out over how this longer water carry went, I'm thinking back to before the AZT. I was talking to somebody who was planning to bring a gallon jug, basically so if you needed a lot of extra water, it's easier to carry it in your hand than on your back. And I think that's going to have to be my plan going forward when I know I'm going into a section like this. Because same thing in the basin, I had enough water to make it, but it wasn't real comfortable. So I'll have to try and remember to grab something before I come through here in fall. So down that road is one of those rather glorious solar wells. Unfortunately, it has been marked no trespassing, apparently, with video surveillance. As always, I'm kind of curious what the story is there. Did they have a well that somebody defaced, which seems kind of odd out here in the middle of nowhere? Seems like a lot of effort to go for something where, okay, maybe, 20, 30 people max are going to go up, dip their water bottles and go. So I have about 10 more miles into the Winston Road. I am starting to get a little concerned though. Haven't heard back from Jen. It looks like the Winston store is closed on Tuesday. And of course today is Monday. Now there is free camping at the community center, but it doesn't seem like there's any bathrooms. So even if I got there, camped, etc., an entire day is a bit long to go without bathroom access in a town. So I'm hoping that she'll call and see about renting some sort of cabin that apparently they have available. The other complication is the box she sent was planned before I switched from Magdalena to Socorro. Man, these flies are just suicidal. The route out to Socorro is going to add a little bit extra. It's going to be a long carry, so I may need to supplement out of the store. And if the store is closed on Tuesday, that basically means I have to hang around till Wednesday. I also saw a note from somebody who finished who specifically cited the section out of Winston as really difficult. And presumably they didn't mean the section I've just been through out of, the paved Winston access. Looking at the map, it looks pretty rugged. Basically, there's a canyon that the trail used to route through prior to 2015, Monticello Box Canyon, I believe. However, a bunch of private ranches back there posted the road as no trespassing, and there's lock gates and everything. So instead, the trail goes out on a whole bunch of these little canyons and things. But yeah, I don't want to get too overconfident here and just assume, oh yeah, I'm going to make 20s through this entire thing. Because that would be a 6-day, ish carry. My plan was to get 7 days of food total and figure worst case I can go a little light in the end if I need. Green water. Well, hell, per gen, the cabin in Winston is already taken. So the water in here isn't bad, just a couple of surface particulates. To the road, so I have to divert left around. It looks like another ranch out here. And welcome to New Mexico 52. Car was coming by and I thought I might have gotten lucky, but it was a sports car. They gave me the what can we do sign as I was going by, as they were going by. I figured there's nothing to do but at least walk until there's shade to wait in. I did make sure and pack 1.5 liters of water down here, just in case I have to last for any length of time. Sometimes I really hate town days. So far I've been here for an hour. One vehicle came by right when I got here, and these people at this property left. They waved at me but wouldn't stop, and they were headed the other way. Despite all my concern, after waiting an hour and a half in the sun, the second vehicle to come by pulled over and recognized me as a hiker and brought me into Winston. Made it into Winston, and I'm currently trying to get my box and take care of things as things are still open. My first stop was the general store, which kind of anchors the entire town. It was only open till 5, so I had to get busy. In addition to the limited assortment of food items, they also had freezer food, sold a heck of a lot of guns, and had laundry and a shower. After an amazingly satisfying shower, they let me set up next to a plug in the laundry room while I waited for my clothes. I normally like to buy as I go as much as I can, but considering I had a 114-mile carry out of here, Jen and I had decided that she should send a box. That way everything was compact as it possibly could be. Also, this was where I'd finally sent a new pair of shoes, since my existing ones had been in somewhat of a failure state for the last 100 miles. Winston is still in the cellular dead zone, and there was no Wi-Fi at the store, but they were nice enough to give me the password for the church across the road. I'm currently sitting out in front of the church in Winston. General store sent me over here, and they have surprisingly good Wi-Fi, which is good, but I was also asked to clear out by dark, so I'm going to have to relocate over to the community center here in a minute. Per one of the locals that stopped by, there was some sensitivity around hikers at the church, since earlier this year, a couple of them had stayed inside without asking with a dog. Okay, as comfortable as this has been, it's starting to get dark, so I guess it's over to the community center. General store is over there, and I was originally going to try and rent that cabin, but some guys had already rented it by the time I got here. So looks like I'm going to be doing it ECT style, just camping out on somebody's porch. So that's the cabin that they rent out. And that's the general store with the showers and the laundry. Winston is a really small town, and they seem to do a lot more business from hunters versus anything else. But anybody I did interact with here was super friendly. From what they said, they rarely see CDT hikers these days since everybody goes through the Gila, so it's mostly get hikers coming through. So I'm not the biggest fan of staying around town if I can't get a hotel, but this is kind of special circumstances. I really need to charge up my battery. And it's an 18-mile hitch back out to a really remote spot to get back to trail. So I'll make do. So the good news is there's a plug out here so I can charge everything and then go back to the church in the morning for any of my internet needs, I guess. As I settled in on the porch, I could hear somebody blaring Gangster's Paradise down the road. Fortunately, that only kept up for a couple of hours. Home sweet home.